most of our health we talk about really comes from these chronic diseases. And the chronic diseases are, whether it's a Parkinson's, Alzheimer, whether you look at depression, anxiety, or you look at OCD, ADHD, obesity, diabetes, cancer, or even all the autoimmune diseases. Every one of them is caused by one simple thing, which is a chronic inflammation. And the chronic inflammation happens because your gut microbiome is out of balance. As you know, the 70% of our immune system is along our gut lining. What we eat is what feeds the microbiome, and that actually trains our immune system. And when your microbiome is out of balance, your immune system is out of balance. And when your body is out of balance, it is not at ease, and which is what we call dis-ease.
All right, so let's back up and give people a quick breakdown of exactly what the microbiome is. And the coolest example I've ever heard you use is talking about humans as a form of AI that's basically meant to lug around the microbiome. Explain that. I thought that was really a pretty powerful insight.
Yeah, so actually, you think about that and say, how did humans actually got created? And if you think from the perspective of the nature, as you know, on our spacecraft we call planet Earth, these are single-cell organisms, the eukaryotes and the bacteria and viruses and the fungi and yeast and the mold, they have been around for billions of years. The humans are give or take about a couple of 100,000 years old. So you wonder, how did humans got created? So here's my tongue-in-cheek story of how I believe it actually happened. One day, all these organisms got together. They were living in Africa. And they say, we're sick and tired of living in this small space. We want to take over the world. And they all looked at each other. And one of the smarter ones said, I think I know what to do. What would you do? What if we can create something where trillions of us can live inside it? All we have to do is keep this thing healthy. It's going to walk around everywhere. We're going to make them crave what we want. They're going to find that food for us. They're going to go all over the world. They're going to poop everywhere. They're going to spread us around, and we're going to take over the world. And they created human. And the humans, as the humans were evolving, suddenly they started to worry. As you know, you and I now worry about artificial intelligence, and we keep wondering, if this thing we just created called artificial intelligence, if someday it got smarter than us, what would happen to us? And these guys were no dumb. They start thinking about that. And so one of the young ones went to the master and said, Master, we created this thing called humans. What if this thing got smarter than us? What will we do? Master says, not to worry. How so, Master? He says, right inside their cell, they call that mitochondria. It's one of our brethrens, right? It's one of the ancient bacteria. We talk to it all the time. This thing is the energy factory for their cell. They go out of control, we turn the energy off, they're done. They say, Master, you're so brilliant. Until another younger one said, Master, you're completely forgetting the point here. They're starting to develop this thing called brain. What are we going to do with that? Master says, not to worry. Remember, most of us live inside the gut. We put a direct connection from the gut right to their brain. They call that a vagus nerve. And they don't quite remember, just because they call it a vagus nerve like Las Vegas, what happens in the gut doesn't stay in the gut. It goes everywhere. We, in fact, control what happens in their brain. And we let them know what we want through something they call neurotransmitters. So you remember serotonin? Yeah, I remember serotonin. It makes them feel good. Yeah. Guess what? We produce 90% of the serotonin right in the gut. We don't let them produce it. They want to feel good, they got to feed us. Right? And all this stuff, they control our amygdala through their microRNA interference. They control our prefrontal cortex. So our decision making, our behavior, what we do, what we want, is controlled by them. And you say, young ones, just remember, like a good leader, we make them think they're making a decision. We are the ones simply pulling the strings. So just sit back, enjoy, and let them take care of us. It's only now that we are able to understand what is going on inside our body. It used to be completely a black box. And people always felt, for the time, they always wanted to eat healthy. But the problem was no one knew what was healthy. And so you will come up with these fad diets, but you start to look at the paleo diet, and you start to look at the ketogenic diet and the lactane diet, and every day there is a new fad diet. The fact is, you and I share almost the identical DNA. 99.9% of our DNA is identical. When it comes to our organism, our environment inside our body, less than 5% is the same. And that's the reason there is no such thing called inflammatory food or a healthy food, because a food that's healthy for you may not be healthy for someone else. In fact, the food that's healthy for you today may not be healthy for you in 3 months.
And explain for people why exactly that is.
Yeah, so first of all, if you think about it, that our bodies are extremely unique, as I said, and our ecosystem inside the gut, so every time you eat food, what's the first thing is encountered by the microbiome. And depending on their ecosystem, they're able to metabolize that food and either produce the nutrients that your body needs, or it can produce the toxins that actually hurt the body and inflame the body. So for example, spinach. Most people will think spinach is healthy. It turns out spinach is not healthy for me, and the reason is spinach has a lot of oxalate. And if you don't have the oxalobacter in your gut, it's actually not going to be oxalate cannot be metabolized by the gut microbiome. That means it's now being fed by someone else who is going to create lipopolysaccharides, which is LPS, which is going to cause inflammation in your body.
We're less than 1% human.
Yeah.
Just really fast, explain that.
Yeah. So basically, we have more foreign cells in our body than the human cell. When it comes to gene expression, our human DNA only expresses about 20,000 genes, and the microbiome in our gut produces about 2 million to 20 million genes. So at best, we are 1% human from a gene expression perspective, or worse, we are 0.01% human.